Hey everybody, welcome back to Nerd News Today. I'm Matthew, and this video is all elite because today we're taking a look at a very highly anticipated figure set, especially for myself and a lot of wrestling fan collectors out there. Today we're taking a look at the debut Minimates set of AEW. This is something that's been teased for quite some time. I'm so excited to finally have it in my hands here. And you guys, this thing is going to be real cool. Now, for folks out there who don't know what Minimates are, for wrestling fans, you might know them as the Stack Down figures. Stack Down was essentially a license that more or less copied what Minimates did, because Minimates are actually one of the longest running toy lines out there. We've reviewed a ton of Minimates on this channel in the past, and I've written articles about them. I'm a big fan of them. They're so cool, and you're going to see why I like them so much today. But I will spare you guys the history lesson because I want to get right on into this here. So Diamond Select is doing a bunch of AEW things. Not only are they doing these Minimates right here, they're also doing statues, which we're going to be taking a look at hopefully in a few months from now. And they're doing statues of CM Punk, Jon Moxley, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot more down the line if those sell well. And likewise with these Minimates here, I already know they've announced a few others, but we'll talk about that a little bit later on. But for now, let's focus on what I got right here in my hand. This is the AEW Minimates, and I want to start off by showing you guys, like, this box is so cool. Very nice. As far as collector friendly goes, I'd say it's pretty close. It's pretty good to being collector friendly. It might not be as good as some other things out there, but it looks like all you gotta do to open this thing up is just pop these two little tabs over here and boom, Bob's your uncle. One of the really cool things that I like about this packaging is that it reminds me of an old wrestling VHS tape, the kind of like maybe Coliseum video or something you get later on, you know, like it's very cool. It's very retro to me feeling. It's very sleek. It's very retro feeling, and it makes sense because Diamond has actually done a lot of action figures and Minimates in a sort of similar VHS style. In case in point, I have one right here. This was from New York Comic Con last year when I picked this up. This is their Transformers 4-pack. You guys can see it is basically like a VHS tape, and I've gone into detail on this in a previous video already, but you can actually slide it out, and boom, right there, it actually is a VHS. And on the other side, you got the figures here. So it's not quite a full VHS tape that we're looking at here with the AEW Minimates, but it's pretty darn close. And what takes this one step further is how they're showing off the figures, because so far, you guys can look at this and you'll see there's not really any way to see what's inside there. I mean, there's a nice little image on the back of the toys, but it's not the same thing as actually seeing them. Well, here's what's really cool about this. This is magnetic. So all I do is pop the tab and there it is. There's your look inside at all four figures and the accessories you're getting in this AEW Minimates pack. And just like that, you can hear it snap, closes right back up. It's in there, it's secure, it's safe. This thing doesn't go flopping around. I mean, you guys can see here, not gonna move. So this makes for displaying it a really cool option. You can have it closed or open, and whenever you're done with it, just snap it back into place. The sides of the box are identical, and they're basically just a rundown of the four figures in this package. And if you haven't figured out who they are just yet, let me tell you right now. You're getting Dr. Britt Baker, you're getting Kenny Omega, you're getting CM Punk, and you're getting Chris Jericho. And if you took a peek while I was showing you guys the back of the box, you'll notice who is in Wave 2 of this series here. And that's going to be Hangman Adam Page, Jon Moxley, Orange Cassidy, and Adam Cole. And also recently announced to make this set even cooler is that there's going to be a Young Bucks 2-pack. There's going to be, I think, another 2-pack they announced also, but more importantly, there is going to be a Minimates scale wrestling ring. And that I cannot wait for. But really, I think you guys have waited long enough for me to go ahead and take these figures out of the packaging. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get these AEW wrestlers out of the box and into the ring. All right, and here are our Minimates, our AEW Series 1 Minimates. So starting over here on the very far left side, we have our Kenny Omega, we have our Britt Baker, we have Chris Jericho, and we have CM Punk. So for you guys who maybe are not too familiar with Minimates, this might be a little bit of a shock compared to what we've normally done with AEW figures. And those will be, of course, the 6.5-inch to 7-inch Jazzwares AEW figures. Those are fully articulated, they're 1/12 scale. But these Minimates here, they are very different. They are much smaller. I almost said smuch smaller, but that's how small they are. They're much smaller. So I really like these things. I've collected Minimates really since like the beginning, on and off, and the last few years especially I've gotten into them a lot more, and so I'm really ecstatic that they're getting the Minimate treatment for AEW characters. So let's just spend some time talking about these figures real quick here, and let's start just by giving you guys again a little bit more detailed look as we start to pan from left to right on these characters here. So you can just see what I'm talking about here with some of the detail, and the fun thing about Minimates too is that they're not meant to be highly detailed or photorealistic. They are cartoony. They're very cartoony. Not in the same way that, like, you know, you'd see a Funko Pop, for example, because Funko Pops are kind of, well, hideous in my opinion. But you're getting a lot of, like, cartoonized caricature elements of the people. But you can identify clearly who each wrestler is supposed to be. The only thing they're really missing is their nose and any sculpted detail. But the face detail, the body detail, the outfits, like all the elements are there to clearly let you know who each person is. And these are exceptional, really. Like, without a doubt, if you're new to Minimates, this is definitely going to be a great introduction for you to these toys. So let's spend some time focusing on each one a little bit more, and I guess let's go ahead and start with Kenny Omega. And I just want to show off a little more of the detail that's in him. You guys can see excellent likeness, a great body. So every single body and really every single sculpt is identical because it's all the same headpiece, the same arm piece, same body piece, legs, same thing. It's all the same. What's different is how they're painted up, and everybody's body matches how they should look as much as possible. And likewise, too, you can see highly detailed paint job in the pants and the outfits of each of these wrestlers here. So I'll show you guys how the back looks also. And, to be quite honest, of course, the backs really are not as interesting necessarily, but there still is really good detail in them. And we'll just give you guys a quick glimpse as we pass on through them here. I mean, yeah, really, not exactly the most exciting because it's just their back sides, but you guys can see what I mean here. Still, overall, fairly good, and there is some nice little detail, here and there. You'll notice there's some stuff down there. That's just copyright information. It's the same thing on Britt Baker as well. She just has copyright information on her legs, but really, I want to show you guys also the back of their heads because their hair pieces are also what makes them pretty different, pretty unique. And let's do profiles as well right now, just so you could see that a little better too. Really nice stuff here. Everybody's different, and that's what's cool about them. Another really nice thing about all Minimates is that their articulation is amazing. These things are really super articulated. They're meant for adult collectors, but they're also really great for kids too, if you have someone who wants to play with them. So everything is ball jointed, everything moves around real nice and freely, nice simple elbow joints, wrist joint moves, wrist. Great flexibility with these guys. You have them sit down, ankles are moving. So yeah, you probably could do some pretty fun things with these guys as far as figure photography goes. It would behoove them to be put in some action poses. Absolutely works for them real nicely. And another nice thing about them all is that they're also all fairly customizable right off the bat. Parts are interchangeable with really complete ease. I mean, you want to change Britt Baker's hair to something else, all you gotta do is just slide it off, and there you go. You can do it with everybody. And all the joints pop out, so things are swappable, so you can just do, really great customizing immediately out of the box. And that's really good because there's a lot of other Minimates out there. And I do want to show off a few for any folks who don't know about who they are, what they do. But, Diamond's doing Minimates forever. And, if you want to have your AEW wrestlers hang out with the Power Rangers, sure, go ahead. Why not? Maybe you don't want Kenny Omega in this, and maybe you want to have him hang out with Megatron. Sure, go ahead. Why the heck not? And you guys can see here, they're all really cool sized. They're all sized pretty much the same. There are some larger ones, and those are called Minimates. Those are bigger figures. We got those also not too long ago. We got a Minimate 2-pack of Sting and CM Punk. But these guys here, this is what you get. They are quite small, but that's great because they fit in with so many other different franchises. In fact, right now, really the most popular one, I'd say, is their Marvel Minimates. And here is Cosmic Ghost Rider. He came out in a recent wave as well. So lots of options. I feel like maybe Britt Baker's not the best to hang out with all these folks. I feel like the person who might appreciate them the most is actually Kenny Omega. So yeah, Kenny Omega hanging out with a Power Ranger, a Ghost Rider, and a Transformer. Yeah, no, that feels right. That feels right to me. And since I didn't actually even officially tell you how tall each one of these figures is, you can see it on the ruler here. They're usually about less than 2 inches tall, about 1.5 inches, maybe it looks like close to 2 with Megatron because he's on the larger side, but generally speaking, they're about 1.5 inches tall, so they are very small, pocket-sized, and that makes them a lot of fun to collect because you can get so many and it's not going to take up a lot of space in your collection. Now, one of the other things that I really like about Minimates, and you already kind of saw it if you were paying attention to the Ghost Rider figure, is in this 4-pack, every single character comes with a base. Everybody gets a base. So you have 4 figures, 4 bases. And these are the same bases you've gotten in any other Minimate box. Because, like I said, they've been giving away bases since day one with these toys. So never been an issue. You always will have a stable way to display your figures when they're loose. And really, Minimates are best meant to be displayed loose. You can keep them in box, that's fine, but really these guys are meant to be put out and enjoyed out in the open. So definitely take advantage of that. But in addition to the 4 bases, we also have something really cool, because after all, this is pro wrestling. And you can't have pro wrestling without some hardcore fun. So we get a bunch of accessories here. And how about, for starters, we take a look at Chris Jericho and his barbed wire baseball bat. Yeah, it's essentially Floyd right there, but this is Floyd covered in barbed wire, which kind of makes it even better. So you're getting a barbed wire baseball bat for Jericho. Now let's nudge Jericho out of the way for a second because I want to show off some of these a little bit more space here. How about for CM Punk, you're getting a dog collar, just like his dog collar match against MJF. So this is really nice, by the way. It's not necessarily, I don't think it's on a wire, no, so it is what it is. But as you can see, all the accessories are fitting in their hands. Let's actually see. I wonder if we can actually get this onto his neck, and that's how easy that pops out. I don't know if we're going to be able to get the head back on, but I certainly want to find out if we can. No, okay, not really. So you can't really easily put the chain and a head on at the same time, but really that's okay for me, because at the very least you can still use this thing to like whip people around with, and that part's cool. Let's see if we can get you guys a better look at that chain. Really nice. This is a cool detail. Let's make Punk disappear for a second. And I want to bring Britt Baker back into the area because I want to talk about what she's going to be using as her accessory, and that's this really nice steel chair. Actually, let's bump her out of the way so you guys can get a better look at this thing in focus. But yeah, she comes with a steel chair. And if you're wondering, unfortunately, no, it doesn't actually fold out. I was hoping it would, but it's pretty thin. You can even see the handles. They're pretty thin on this thing. So they don't fold out, but like I said earlier, you guys can already see that weapons are fitting into everybody's hands with no problems. I think if it was foldable, it would actually cause probably a few more problems. Just because, you know, it would be... Well, basically, those legs that support weight, that would be an issue. But Britt can, in fact, hold the chair up. You guys can see that right there. She can wield it, and anybody else can wield it, and they could just whack all their opponents as hard as they want with this nice soft rubber chair. And this is a softer material on that chair, so if you do hit folks with it, you know, it's not going to dent up the figures or anything like that. So that's really nice. Now, what am I saving for Kenny Omega? Well, I'm going to give him something a little special. And this was a cool accessory that I'm so excited they threw into the very first pack they were doing here. And how do I introduce this? Well, how about Devon get the tables? Because we get a Minimates size table. This is adorable, by the way. This is just so cute seeing a Minimates size table. As far as like sculpting detail goes, there's practically none on this, but it's so fun that they actually added a table in here. And again, the pieces here, these legs, they do not move. They're sculpted as is. They're also quite thin, so I was a little bit worried about how things are going to break, you know, and especially if the leg could support the weight. But luckily, I mean, you know, I've snapped this table together pretty tightly. It's not a perfect seal, but I think even with this amount of stress and tension, you know, it'll hold up a character nicely. That's important. You can lay him across the table, you know, like so. Holds their weight. That's great. And as far as breaking it goes, I think you just give a little more of a push through. Yeah, it breaks really easily. So it's really nice to me that they were able to engineer it to do both things, not just only to break, but also to legitimately hold some of the weight of other figures. So that's essentially my look at these AEW Minimates from Diamond Select. And we're going to do a quick rotation of everybody passing by right now, just so you can see them all one more time with some of the accessories. And if you're not really a Diamond Select collector, I mean, these are, like I said, very foreign to you. But if you're an AEW fan, I think these are must-haves. Now, I will admit, they are a little bit on the pricey side. I don't quite remember what the exact price was for this 4-pack. And by the way, that is how they're doing Minimates, is they only come in multi-packs typically. But I know they can be looked at as being a little bit pricey for what they are. But they're also pretty cool, nice collectibles, don't take up a lot of space. And really, they have excellent quality. Like, there's a reason why these have lasted as long as they have, with no issues, no real setbacks. And really, they've only improved over the years, too. And you can see, I mean, why. They have excellent details, really great articulation, they're fun to photograph. There's just a lot of great stuff about them. Plus, they all have these really nice accessories. And I should add on top of that too, like we mentioned at the start of this video, there are more on the way. We know who the next 4-pack is. We know the Young Bucks are coming as well in a 2-pack, I believe. And also we're going to get a wrestling ring, which is going to be so exciting to get a wrestling ring in the scale with these guys. So, man, figure photography is going to be off the hook with this stuff. So I definitely recommend these Minimates. They're worth your time. They're worth your money. And I think they're going to also be kind of cool to break up your wrestling figure collection to have something like this. I mean, you know, this isn't like those stacked down figures, because those WWE stacked down figures, if you recall those, were really quite horrendous. They were hideous. They looked terrible. They had really very little redeeming qualities to them. But Diamond Select Minimates have so many more options. Plus, there's an entire world at your disposal that's in scale with them. Just like it's, you know, your 6-inch action figures where you have your Marvel Legends in scale and your Star Wars Black. You guys saw up close and personal, there's all the Marvel figures, there's all the Transformers, there's all the Power Rangers, and there's other stuff too. There's Star Trek, they've done a ton of other licenses. I think they've done Aliens, they've done Godzilla, Ghostbusters. Over the years, there's a lot of Minimates. So really, I consider this for wrestling fans and toy collectors in general a gateway to more Minimate buying, because we need more Minimates out there. So with that said, if you want to pick up these Minimates for yourself, I'm going to have Amazon affiliate links in my description below. Highly recommend them. I can't say enough good things about them, and I want so many more of these, because AEW's got a pretty big roster. There's a lot of folks we can see, and I know I want to see a Danhausen in Minimate form, but let me know who you want to see in Minimate form in the comments below from AEW. So until next time, I'm Matthew. This has been Nerd News Today. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.